Shadowlands has been out for a few weeks now, but I'm still seeing a lot of confusion about the covenants and the various mounts those covenants are able to obtain and the ones that they're not able to obtain. And a lot of this confusion was caused because at the end of the beta they made quite a few changes to some of the mounts, literally like a week or two before launch, which did stir things up and cause some of that confusion to carry on. So in this video I wanted to clear all of those things up and give you a better idea of what you should and shouldn't be doing on your current covenants. The first covenant we'll talk about will be Night Fae, and they will have their 8 exclusive Night Fae mounts, which are the Rune Stags. These are going to come from various sources, and once you unlock them, you can use them on any of your Night Fae ults, but they are only usable by Night Fae. So if you have a Kyrian ult, they won't be able to access these Rune Stag mounts. Even if you swap your main character from Night Fae to Kyrian, you won't be able to access those Rune Stag mounts anymore. As mentioned, these 8 Rune Stags will come from various sources, 2 from Renown, 2 from the main story campaign, 1 from the Court of Night reputation once you get revered, 1 from the Mushroom teleportation system, the Marasmus rep, and then 2 from the Queen's Conservatory. The next mount up will be the Wild Glimmer for Prowler, and this one was originally a 100% drop chance for any covenant on beta, but right towards the end it was changed to be a low drop chance for Night Fae only. So you will need a Night Fae character to get this mount, but once you get it, it is unlocked for any covenant, so do keep that in mind. Now to access this mount, you have 2 options. The first is getting your hands on a tier 3 Anima Conductor, throwing Anima over to turn a Sith, and fighting the Venthyr rare that can spawn there. Quite difficult to kill, and it'll have a low chance of giving you that mount, or you can make use of someone else who has summoned it as well. As long as you're Night Fae, you will have a chance of it dropping. The alternative is heading over to your Sanctum as Night Fae, and the Renown vendor will actually sell you the mount for Anima and also the Grateful Offerings if you get enough. You can just purchase it and then you don't have to deal with the RNG drop chance. The next mount for us to talk about will be the Vibrant Flutterwing, and this is going to come from the Marasmus rep, which is the kind of Night Fae's teleportation system. You get dailies there and you'll gain reputation, and once you unlock and purchase this mount, it is Night Fae only to get, but once you get it, you can use it as any covenant. The next mount to talk about will be the Silky Shimmermoth, which can be purchased by any covenant and also used by any covenant, but you will need a Night Fae player to activate the criteria for it basically. What you need to do is head over to the Opera in Ardenweald, and a Night Fae player with a tier 1 Anima Conductor can spawn a rare every day. You need to fight 7 different rares, which could take you 7 days plus. Once you've met that criteria, there will be a vendor at the back that will sell you the Silky Shimmermoth regardless of your covenant. The final mount in this section to touch on is going to be the Umbral Scythehorn, and this is going to come from the Court of Night reputation, which is tied to the Anima Conductor system within Ardenweald for Night Fae. So you will need a Night Fae player to kind of assist you, like that Opera fight we talked about a moment ago. Venthyr as well, if you kill that you will gain reputation with the Court of Night. And those are going to be your only sources as a non-Night Fae player, but it's rep that you get quite a lot of, so it won't take too long to hit revered. And then once you do hit revered, you can head over and purchase yourself that mount. Night Fae players do get a bit of an advantage though, because they can take part in more of their Anima Conductor content and gain that reputation a little bit faster. But this mount is purchasable by any covenant and also can be used by any covenant. You just need, once again, the aid of a Night Fae player. The next covenant we'll take a look at will be the Venthyr, and they will have their 8 exclusive Gargon mounts. So there'll be 8 mounts that only Venthyr can use, very similar to Night Fae, and they can only get them and use them as a Venthyr player. So very similar to the Rune Stags we talked about earlier. Those Gargons will come from 2 from Renown, 2 from the Storer, 1 from the rare called Hope Crusher, 1 from the Mirror teleportation system. Once you get that to tier 3, you'll have the Ember Court will award 1, and the Avowed reputation will award 1 as well. So you'll have to do all those things. Venthyr is probably the harder one to get all of their mounts. Criteria is a little bit tougher to achieve, but yep, you do have your 8 Gargon mounts as Venthyr. The other Venthyr related mount for us to talk about is going to be the Horrid Dreadwing, and very similar to the Wild Glimmer for Prowler, this is going to be a rare that only Venthyr players can have a chance of looting, but once they do get it and learn it, any covenant can then use this mount. You will need a Venthyr to be able to initially obtain the mount. This is going to come from the Anima Conductor tier 1 over at Wainecrypt Hill. You'll kill Harika the Horrid and you'll have a chance of that mount. Alternatively, once again very similar to the Night Fae, you can purchase it from your Renowned vendor for currency as well. The next covenant for us to talk about will be the Necrolords, and like everyone else, they will have their 8 exclusive covenant mounts, which will be the Tauraluses. Those are going to be obtainable by only Necrolord and only usable by Necrolord. 2 of those will come from Renown, 2 are going to come from the Story campaign, 1 from the Anima Conductor system, 2 from the Abomination Factory, and 1 will come from a rare called Hunter. Now, one thing to mention on that though is that Rare has not confirmed drop that mount since launch. Not a single player apparently has had it dropped, or if they have, they've kept it very secret. So as far as we know, it's either bugged and it's not dropping the mount correctly, or they sneakily moved it somewhere else, but the journal does still state that it does come from Hunter, so who knows what is going on with that one. But either way, all of those Tauraluses will be for Necrolord only, unless they change those restrictions in the future, which they may do, probably towards the end of the expansion though, no time soon. The next Necrolord related mount for us to talk about will be the Bones Soon Flash Rock, and this is going to come from tier 5 of the Abomination Factory. You'll have to craft it, but once you obtain this mount, it's obviously Necrolord to only obtain, but once you obtain it and use it, you can use it as any Covenant. A similar story with the next mount we'll talk about, which will be the Predatory Bone Jowl. This is going to come from the rare called Giga, and you'll need a tier 1 Anima Conductor as a Necrolord to activate this fight. And then once you do kill it, you'll need to be Necrolord for the mount to have a chance of dropping. Once it does drop though, you aren't able to use it on any Covenant. Unlike some of the other Covenants though, this one is not purchasable at the Renown vendor. The final mount I wanted to touch on in this section is the Bone Cleaver Skullboar, and this on beta dropped from the rare called Sabriel the Bone Cleaver, but since launch it has been removed from the mount journal, and people are very recent have been able to start killing Sabriel, and not a single person has reported a drop regardless of Covenant. So it does seem like that mount has been removed from the game. It may come back in a different source in the future, but for now it is gone. But it's still worth killing that rare as a Necrolord because it can drop your Necrolord only Tauralus mount. The final Covenant for us to talk about is going to be the Kyrian, and like every other Covenant, they will have their 8 exclusive mounts, which only Kyrian can obtain and only Kyrian can use. 2 of those from Renown, 2 from the main story campaign, 1 from the Anima Conductor. When you put Anima over to the Temple of Purity, there'll be a treasure there, and that has a chance of giving you one of the Phalanx mounts. And then 3 will come from the Path of Ascension, so the majority are going to come from that system, but you will need to get quite deep into that to get all of them, so do keep that in mind. The final mount kind of related to Kyrian is going to be Sundancer, and on beta this mount was quite a question mark because we only really got to start fighting it right at the end of beta, and no one got a drop, or at least reported a drop, so we weren't entirely sure how this worked. But since live we have a lot more info and I'm 99% sure on how this works now. So the way this rare is going to work is you will need a Kyrian player to make the glider. The glider will come from their Path of Ascension system. They'll progress it to the point where they unlock the wings, so the glider recipe. They'll craft that, but that is BOE and can be sold to any Covenant. From there, anyone with the glider wings can fight Sundancer. It doesn't matter what your Covenant is, you'll be able to fight Sundancer and have a chance of getting that mount. Now one thing though, it does seem that players who are the rider, the ones that kind of summon and activate Sundancer, have a higher chance of obtaining the mount. This isn't linked to any Covenant in particular, so if you're the rider as Necrolord, you do seem to have a higher chance of getting the mount over anyone who just takes part in the fight. But anyone who does take part in the fight will also have a chance of getting the mount, regardless of their Covenant. So regardless of your Covenant, you will need to head over there, get yourself the wings if you want to be the summoner, click the plaque, glide off the cliff, get on Sundancer, tame it, make sure you're using defensives and stuff so you don't die, keep hitting that soothe button, it'll land, and then that's going to be quite a difficult solo fight, but kill it for your chance of that Sundancer mount regardless of your Covenant. And then just before we wrap things up, I did want to also touch on one mount that is still a secret to us, and that is the Slime Serpent. That's going to come from the Plaguefall dungeon, but we don't actually know how you obtain that just yet. If it is going to need a specific Covenant or whatever, don't know. The Secret Finding Discord guys and girls are all trying to figure it out still, so we're not too sure on that one. That may be in here as one of those mounts that needs a specific Covenant, but I'm probably leaning towards that that's not going to be the case, but time will tell. The other mounts within the Shadowlands that I haven't included in this video, it means those ones are available by any Covenant, and you don't need to be a specific Covenant to activate them or any of those shenanigans. So hopefully that cleared things up, and if you've been wasting your time with certain rares and stuff, hopefully now you know you don't need to be doing that anymore. I've seen a bunch of people being like, oh, I've been killing Hope Crusher as Night Fae and I've not got the mount yet. That's because you can't get the mount as Night Fae. So hopefully this has made things clearer for you now, and you're killing the things that you should be or doing the activities that you should be for the right mounts for your Covenant. Outside of that, look out for more videos coming soon. Thanks for watching, guys.